What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Tatum Takes. I'm Tatum, and today I had to do a Tatum Takes episode today just because if you follow my channel, you know I love this band. But they just came out with their 3-part documentary series on Disney Plus. It gave us behind the look on one of their, I would say their last album, The Making. And I wanted to make a video on the top 10 things that stood out to me while watching this documentary. So without further ado, the Beatles, Get Back. First of all, let me just start by saying that how great was it to see the Beatles in this upgraded quality video, to see them in a way that I'd never seen them like this before. Not only making of an album, but their last bit of Beetlejuice they had left, for lack of better words, squeezing that out to make this album. And you see the frustrations and you see all this stuff. It was just, as a Beatles fan, I was just floored. I'm gonna rewatch it again. I'm probably on my third watch, but I'll say for anyone who's just a music lover or Beatles, not only just a Beatle fan but a music lover, look at this process of how one of the greatest put the magic together. It was just amazing. So I have my 10 things. I'm not gonna go in any order of importance. It's just my notes that I have of the top 10 things that stood out to me. So let's go. Number one thing I noticed that I took away, one of the top 10 takeaways I took away from this is that how many songs that were being created in this moment that would end up on other classic projects, the John Lennon projects, the Paul McCartney projects, the Wings projects, the George Harrison project, All Things Must Pass project. It's like, that was amazing that they were so great, and they were, how can I put it, they all had these great ideas on their own. And this is the first time we actually see this, right? They all had these great ideas on their own, and we finally seeing like them being shot down. Like, that's like some of my favorite songs are being shot down. I was like, that's just crazy. When I hear Paul McCartney crafting up some records that would become the Wings records, or I hear George playing something, or I hear John, I'm like, you didn't pick that? Y'all didn't think that one was good? Like, that was one of the things that stood out to me for sure. Just thinking about that, like, damn, they had so many great songs were left on the cutting room floor. 2, one of the things that stood out to me while watching was that the dynamic of each member, right? You hear all these stories about hearsay, he say, she say, them say kind of thing all over the years, but you never get to like see it. And we see like the importance of things. You see how Paul is like the energy of it, John is like the soul, the heart of it. George is like the soul, Ringo is like the feet. Like, it keeps him grounded, it keeps him here. Like, to see that in real time and to see how that worked, like in the essence of making an album, was just amazing. 3, like I said, it's not in order of importance, but this will probably be the most important, is the state of the group itself. Not the state of the group, but the uncertainty of each other. You see these moments where you see them not even at some points. You see them at some points where it's like they're auditioning songs for each other. Like, we come so far from being in the same room and crafting these records together from scratch that you think you like this one. I was working on this one last night. I don't know if you're gonna like it. Or like in George's case, where his ideas are being shot down and crushed every time, and him not even probably feeling open enough and safe enough to show you guys the songs he had, you know? The scene where you see John and George working on a song, and every time, I don't know, I'm sure if it was just me, but every time I seen like George try to give an idea, Paul would be sitting there like I'm listening to you, but I'm not listening to you. Like, and even they got into a dispute over that, or when John and Paul are having a conversation, I think it was like in a dining room, it was just the audio where John was laid, or when you see Ringo and Paul crying when John is laid and George already left the group, and it's like, then it was 2, and then, you know, as soon as he gets the call from John, he bolts up to get the phone. So just the dynamic of all 4 members. 5, I would just put it this, I know I've touched on it before, but this is more direct to it. Watching that magic come together, like watching them struggle, watching them trying to find some groove, tuning out old records and blues records, and we finally get like Get Back or Don't Let Me Down, and you see them build and get back from this political record to its simplified form that we know today. Or we see John with Don't Let Me Down, and you see him, how am I gonna do this? Or them fixing that bridge, I'm in love for the first time, like those type of moments. And I thought it was funny. I'm glad they took Paul McCartney off certain parts, because some parts he was background singing. I think it was on Don't Let Me Down, and it was just kind of overcrowding the thing, overcrowding the record. But just to see them tweaking ideas, and to see the guy, I forget his name, the guy who would have to write down the lyrics that they were coming up with. I thought that was funny. Like, they actually had a guy there like, this was just okay. But I thought that was just great to finally see how the magic worked. Like, and you'll see moments where John and Paul were just so in tune with each other, they would just get up and just be in each other's face this close, how I am to this mic, trying to get like the song out. And I in that aspect, I see why George felt left out. Sorry, that last one was 4. I said 5. 5. Yoko Ono. I couldn't have this list without having that aspect in it. Just her presence being there. I'm not saying, I'm not going down the road you might think I am, but just her presence being there, I thought it was very telling of the times. And most of the time it seemed like she was just doing her own thing, but I'm pretty sure it was stuff that we didn't see in the documentary. I know moments when she was just screaming, I was like, I want to fast forward, but I don't want to miss anything. sorry, Yoko, but I was like, this is one of the biggest, if not the greatest group of all time, and you over here, they're trying to find a rhythm. It's like they dying to find a rhythm within each other, and you over here just screaming. And even when Paul McCartney's daughter coming in, she looking at Yoko like, oh, she can scream, but I can't. I just thought that was funny. 6, the rooftop performance. One thing I noticed about the rooftop performance that I thought, like, oh wow, even the greats have like this thing of getting out their own way and not seeing the greatness that could be. The rooftop performance, to me, that they have the whole documentary is about, we're building up to something. We're gonna do the stage here. We're gonna do this performance here. We want people here. We don't want people here. We're gonna do it here. Blah 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 blah. Right? And even with Paul things, like, and I'm gonna get into Paul next, but like, it just seems like it's leading to nothing. We're doing this album, we're doing all this film, and then what after this type of thing, but it's no payoff, which he felt like. And I understand that to an extent. Like, after their manager died, Paul like kind of forced himself into that position to lead the band, and basically knowing the potential of the Beatles, but we're not living up to the potential. But to me, in retrospect, I think the rooftop performance, and sporadic that it was the greatest thing that they ever did. For it to be their last performance done in this road kind of environment where police are coming to shut it down and you're playing songs that's unreleased, I think it's no other. That's rock and roll at its finest. Like, that's you couldn't write that. Like, you couldn't imagine that. You couldn't plan that. Like, as much as they were planning for the 3 weeks, you couldn't plan that impact. You can't plan that impact. You can't plan that legacy of that performance. I just thought that was something that was so dope that, like, damn, they didn't even understand the potential of them just doing this freelance concert on the roof during lunch, how epic it would be. It's the last Beatles performance, like, at their core, just playing rock and roll songs. It was amazing. Number 7. One thing that stood out to me was Paul. Just his overbearingness, just his I see what he was trying to do. I see the pros in what he was trying to do, but I also see the cons. Like, he was stepping on everybody's idea, especially poor George. Like, he was just, I could see it, and like, it was like gaslighting. Like, I already know how this is gonna go, or like, and I get it. He just wanted things to be done. Like, he wanted to be great and he wanted to be done, but at that point in their journey as the Beatles, it was beating a dead horse. You were better off letting. I just imagine. I guess they had to break up, but I imagine, like, if egos were all put to the side and we were all to just, if Paul put as much energy into George's song as George was putting into his songs all through the years, we would have had more albums. Like I said, I could see on Paul's face when he's listening to George that it was just like, yeah, I'm listening, but I'm not listening to you at all. When somebody keep giving you that, yeah. Like, they're not listening. They're just want you to stop. But they don't want to be rude, but that's even ruder. Number 8, how cool Ringo was. Ringo was the coolest member of the band. Like, he was the first one there every morning. He played his role, played his drums, never really complained. I know he left during the White Album, but this album, he was there. And I just felt like he was caught in the middle of everything. Like, he was just caught in the middle of everything. like everything. So I just thought that's one of the things that stood out to me as well. Just Ringo being Ringo, like how cool he is. And I'll have to apologize to him, because if you've seen some of my reviews, I'm always harsh on Ringo. But after watching this, he's cool. He's cool as a polar bear's toenail. Number 9, the hidden greatness of George Harrison. I'm pretty sure that man has so many great ideas, which we've seen on All Things Must Pass, a freaking double, triple album almost. Like, to be compressed so much that you leave. Like, he quit in the middle, like at lunchtime. Like, well, guess y'all gonna have to find somebody else. Is just crazy. I just have to give a little bit more respect for George. I already have respect for him, but just a little bit more respect just to see what he had to endure. He was always getting little bro. He was always getting little bro. So that's one of the things that stood out to me. And the soul that he brought to the band, like, you can't replace that. And number 10, the finale of it all, I'll give it to Billy Preston. If you've seen the documentary, you know it just seemed like a bunch of mess before he showed up. And it seemed like once he showed up, they wanted to straighten their ties and like, all right, y'all be presentable. It's like when your parents invite company over, and they try to present you as the best household ever. That's how that was when he walked in. It's like, okay. And then the day that he didn't show up, where he had to shoot the movie, you could see the morale go down. But he brought a soul to the Let It Be album that I just was. It had to make my list. Like, it was so noticeable, like the power that he brought to that room of Abbey Road. He had to make the list. Before I get out of here, a few honorable mentions. George Harrison's style of dress, crazy, great, crazy swag. What else? Paul and John, their tandem of brotherhood was very interesting to see and loving to see. Like, when I forgot what it was about the stage design or something, and Paul was like, you can ask John, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna say this, and it was exactly what he said. And he was like, Paul told me he would say this. He said, yeah, like, I thought that was cool. Or when John's trying to make the song and Paul's reading the article in the newspaper, which is kind of like eerie in the same time, like, you could feel the tension in there. What else? One thing I will mention that I won't mention, the absence of Phil Spector. They kept that part out for sure. But I hate to say it, but he came in and kind of saved that album. So, yeah, I think that's about it. All the things that stood out to me. So let's wrap this up. Don't let me down. In closing, I think this documentary was amazing. As a big-time Beatles fan, as just a music lover, to see one of the greatest groups of all time construct the album at one of their highest tension moments in their career with each other. And I would like to see this for all my greats. I'm pretty sure a lot of people recorded some of the greatest albums. I imagine we can see how Thriller was made, or we can see how whatever, like, just see how great albums were made, like Songs in the Key of Life. Would we seen that? Like, that'd be great. I would love to see like all these behind the scenes moments of creating the magic, but they're the Beatles, so I know everything else is far in between. Like, did you see how they updated the quality of that footage? That's insane. But I'm glad this is out. I'm glad this is on streaming services. I'll probably go buy a hard copy of it if I can. I think it's just amazing. The wait, it was worth the wait. I'll just say that. And on that note, let me know some of your favorite moments in the documentary. Let me know some of the Easter eggs, some of the things you were surprised about finding out, or did you know all this already? Let's discuss it in the comments. As always, I'm Tatum. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.